but Lisa's on her way. Mary's here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's coming. So I think we'll have 4 of them.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think we'll have 4 of them in the room.
So Jessica gave this to me bread, so I'm using the next thing, and then this was the other one plugged in something, so do you have an outlet thing for it?
Don't worry.
I've been working on this for 45 minutes in Brandon's office.
Really?
And we're
No, but I mean, like today, just testing it today with all that. It's like making it. So can you bring me that roly poly?
instructions, we're actually doing them backwards, opposite.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi. Happy New Year. Sorry, we're doing a little bit of tech logistics that we've never had to do before. Otherwise, it'd be a little more attentive. Hey, Nick. I'm doing Apple TV for the first time, and I'm trying to figure out how to mirror.
She's gonna, Betsy's gonna show up. So there is not a call-in number on the agenda.
There normally hasn't been any more because we're not,
Oh, we don't have to?
we don't have to, yeah,
Okay. Well, she's gonna show up in person for a
because
little
we're doing the multiple site thing now.
So if people wanna, so how does that work? Like if Betsy,
We give her a call in, and she calls.
right, but as far as the agenda goes, what's the difference between Margot and Betsy tonight?
The location address where the open session is supposed to take place. Margot's
Oh.
address is not on there.
Is Betsy? It
Should
doesn't look
have
like
been.
Betsy's is on there.
You weren't on that thread? Oh, dear.
I think we'll have a form regardless.
But we should go through the process. Because people still don't quite understand the limit of, the address response that Michelle sometimes needs.
Yeah, I thought Michelle was on the thread. But yeah.
So it wasn't clear to me, I needed to get add a color address to it, I just didn't.
Let's see.
To give me a color address?
I don't know, it was kind
You
of,
asked,
it was.
you're on the thread.
Pardon? Give me one?
No, but no one asked her for one.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Okay.
Green?
You know the green one?
I do. Enough we want to do it this way, or you enter directly into your.
Can I? I don't see where I'm doing it. I think it's a program that. Here. There. Oh, yes. Shows you where I'm operating from. Okay, hang on. I'll do it. Uh, 13, 37, exclamation, and 22. 1337, exclamation, enter the capital E, 2 X.
I'm gonna ask you this question now, so I don't screw up consent. Did LAUSD set their calendar already?
Yes. I wouldn't do it without them setting,
Okay, because we're mirroring them, right?
as much as we can, 'cause we
Right.
have some differences here.
We'll open as soon as we get one more.
Make sure people who want food get food. There's lots of food. Pie.
Oh, it's delicious, thank you.
You want to get on network? Oh, gosh. Okay, forget it. Never mind. We're gonna go old school. Yeah, we're doing too much today anyway. We're trying to record and live stream and all that fun stuff. Okay. Another day, another dollar.
I got a week of your coming, so I was like, oh, good, it'll be a fun meeting.
I try to, live stream.
How you doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm doing okay. I'm still recovering from the holidays. How about you? What is it?
You are my other me, all capital on each of the words, no space.
Right. Sure. We actually didn't go to that family because what we usually do, because Ben and I have been in New York.
It's a whole nother world there. Everyone's really nice. Yeah, I heard it's clean, everyone's nice. I heard nothing. Like people want to move there after they go.
It's not as far as you think it is, you know, that place called that's in here, right? Like going to Berlin or, oh my gosh, that's not bad at all. All right, whoever wants to grab food, because we have quorum, so we'll just open and get started, because we have to go into closed session right at 7.
Really?
I can be, and then I can be on the phone after that, but, I probably like 7:30.
Okay, that's good, because we're going into closed session at 7.
Okay,
And, your call-in address didn't make it on the agenda, so you can call and participate, but you can't vote once you're on the phone.
okay.
So, well, it doesn't matter, you'll still be included, you'll still, well, we're gonna get through a bunch of stuff before then.
Okay, people are eating, is it?
No, yeah, go
Food's
ahead.
here.
Yeah, go
All right,
ahead.
I'm sorry, I haven't eaten, and I.
Go eat.
Lisa just got here too, when you guys get back, we'll open, okay?
And then we're gonna have to speed through reports and do as
Yeah.
much as we can quickly.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Joanna, can you hear us? Michelle and Nick, I'm putting you guys on this text thread, because we're doing this recording bit with Johanna. She's at Eagle Rock. In case there's some troubleshooting that needs to take place, maybe we can do it by thread.
So just so everyone's aware, we have to, pause whatever we're doing at like a few minutes before 7 and, retreat to closed session. We're gonna have legal counsel on the phone at that time. And then we'll finish that and then come back and reconvene for wherever thought it is.
All right. Johanna can hear us.
We'll just wait for Betsy to sit and then we'll open.
Okay. And you all got your handy dandy, this is not part of agenda, but this is the lovely audit report.
Okay, it's 6:12. We'll open the meeting. Can we have roll call vote, please? Here. 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 Is there anyone here for public comment? Yes. You do need to fill out a form, though, so we can have it on file? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. You want it? Sure. You can go ahead and start.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna make my comment quick. I am sure the board is aware, but I know you have so many things on your minds and so many important things to attend to that I just wanted to bring it back to the awareness again. That, our SED department is in a tough spot right now. We started the year with 2 RSP assistants and 2 RSPs, with the plan to hire an additional 3rd RSP halfway through the year because our school is growing. The number of kids with IEPs in our school is growing. Some of our kids need more minutes than they have in the past due to how their reading level is progressing, things like this. So currently we are down to 1 RSP, paraprofessional, and myself 1 RSP. So we're missing basically 2 RSPs, 2 full-time RSPs, 1 RSP assistant right now. So it is tough. I know we're all going through a lot this year in the school. I know it's a lot of the state level issues and federal level issues of how we're funding special ed. But again, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I feel it's part of my responsibility with my position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? No,
Your report.
You were next, PTA report.
But
Hi, I'm Shannon. Hi, I'm Frances. We'll give you a quick rundown of what's going on with PTA.
Great.
We're introducing a new chair to our board. It's calling the Community Engagement Chair. We have a new parent who's going to be taking the lead on that. She's going to be working directly with Joanna on community engagement. So that's exciting.
She's bilingual, which is great too, and she came to us at a coffee at Eagle Rock and said, I really want to get involved in this area. I work in the libraries already, and I want our school to be more integrated into the community. So that's
super exciting. We have our Martin Luther King Day of Service coming up this Saturday. We have so far 82 out of 117 spots filled for volunteering, both in person and through donations. So there is some more spots available if you guys want to.
Can I pause you just for a second?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Margot's trying to dial in. What are we open for her? Is there a number?
she did not give an address, so she can participate, so she can join by someone's cell,
Okay.
but she can't,
Yeah, she
can't
knows
vote.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You want me to call her?
Yeah, we don't have a phone set up for her.
I couldn't have voted. No, but that was fine. That was a technical. Oh,
You can go ahead.
Okay, great.
sorry.
And our membership goals, as far as the PTA, we've already exceeded our goals with 137 members.
May I ask how many kids do you have? Is there like a drive to get more kids? Or?
We have 12 kids right now.
I can look that up in a minute, tell you the exact number, but I think we have 12 students right
Oh,
now.
cool.
It is kind of the first year that we've been doing that, and we
board member kind of leads the students in something.
Right.
We're kind of working on that, so yes.
All right, cool.
There is definitely dreams of that, and we're very glad that they have joined, and every time they come, we try to acknowledge them, we have little brag tags for them, so when they help out in an event, we made them these necklaces, and we're giving them little thank you, or coffee, or movie night, little specific event tags that they can hang on the necklace. That's kind of like,
Okay, cool.
that gives us a chance to recognize some of our meetings. Yeah, it's really great, and they do want to be involved. We have our 4th and 5th grade dance coming up. There is a possibility it will be postponed. We're waiting to hear back from some close friends of the Lopez family to make sure that we are not getting emotional.
Not impeding on any possible dates that they have needs for.
Yeah, we want to make sure we represent the school in a proper tone. Sorry. Gosh, I didn't expect that to happen. So yeah, we are scheduled for next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. We are in talks with those folks to see if it would be helpful to postpone it or to move forward. We're ready to do either. If we postpone, a few of us have agreed it might also be helpful in preparation. And if we don't postpone, we're ready to go. We have a meeting tomorrow night, and we are hoping to have an answer by then, so we'll be able to move forward or postpone. But that is the 4th and 5th grade dance, for those of you that don't know, is a fun event. It's also a fundraiser to help the scholarship for our field trips, specifically for CME, for the students that want to go to CME. That's our 5th grade field trip. We want to make sure every student gets to go, so that money goes towards that. We also, Jogathon is our big fundraiser, as you know, and it's coming up in March, so preparations are already being built for that, and we've already started the website, and we're working out all the details. Our big announcement, though, is that we, as a PTA, received a $1,000 grant from the National PTA and TikTok to host a Smart Talk for tech. It's called the PTA Smart Talk, and they have specific guidelines on how they want us to run it and what we can do to make this event happen. So we are going to move forward with that. We haven't done a lot of prep on it, except that we are shooting to make it February 27th, which was one of our dates that we'd held for our next general meeting. So we are going to be talking to our middle school friends and Linda, and we just haven't talked yet. We just really found out that we got it. So they'll be spending $1,000 for us to run that event. Any monies that we don't use, we can put into our general budget. We also received about 5 vouchers for cases of water, which we can give away or sell. And so we're working with the green team to figure out how we should do that, because there's bottles of water. So it's a great thing we got, but we don't want to sell them. And I think that's it. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you for all the hard work.
Site council? You again, Linda?
Elementary, then middle. Well, elementary has broken up into 2 main committees. One definitely is a math committee, and the other is attendance. And so those are the 2 committees for this year for elementary site council. We are struggling a little bit with membership. Today we had a meeting that got canceled due to lack of quorum. So we're going to push for new elections if needed for the parents that have not shown up in the past couple of meetings. We started off strong, but the work for, from now going forward, of course, is evaluating where our progress is with the LCAP, and also moving forward with where we are now in preparation for the new LCAP. The new LCAP has a new site, a new template again this year, different, changed, so we're going to be learning about that. Pretty cool. I didn't, so you're welcome. However you'd like to do it, Alita.
Thanks. Middle school site council. The last meeting that we had, we went over norms a little bit, so our norms collaboration is an execution of the school. We talked about 1 year, and it seems that has a lot to say, and disagreements and things like that in our school norms. So I think that was really helpful. And we broke into 1 committee. So during school site council retreat, we decided to do 1 committee, which I'm really passionate about, which is middle school. So
everyone wanted to be in that committee. Some of those ideas surround how to create a middle school that feels like its own separate entity. So you'll probably hear that a lot, or you probably have heard that a lot. So things such as student clubs, different student experiences. I started student councils this week as well, looking into something called IWED, which is independent work program, kids mentorship, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the rhetoric or the way I talk about it with parents is, in our school, there's a lot of room and space for us to build it together instead of coming and just complain, it's more commission. So that's why it's one committee. There's a lot there and a lot of ideas. So you're welcome to come in with us. Thank you.
Teacher rep. Debbie Cassandra. I guess the only updates are, before break, just did a check-in with the teacher staff and asked them for any feedback, anything that they wanted to share, and I checked in, met with Linda, a couple times about this, and so some of the concerns that came up were, about like lack of SEL support, workload and responsibilities that are increasing with little notice, the need for prep time for the general ed teachers that's built in somehow in the school day. It's not constantly after hours or on the weekends. Talked about site services and like what might be the next step that Chelsea had mentioned about us losing that staff and where we are in hiring, what's the next step for that. Talked about turnover. People were concerned about why recent staff, like why they were leaving, and of course there was some personal confidentiality, things that couldn't be shared. But was it, people were asking, was it the lack of support that they were getting, or was it just for personal reasons that they just had to move on? Another thing was possibly looking into how might we use our art specialist time more effectively, both in the sense for art specialists in how they integrate with the general ed teachers and also on the general ed teacher side, if we could possibly use that time to possibly do second time on your own, utilizing that. And we talked about the charter, it's written in the charter, and how we are an arts integrated school, and what does that look like. Another thing that we talked about was the responsibilities within the SPED department and who's responsible for what, and just clarifying the roles and responsibilities. And it's just teachers overall not feeling appreciated, or if they are appreciated enough, it's not known, it's not seen. So talk about that. My personal question was where the board is on hiring for a specialist director for next year. I know Jerry mentioned that he would be spearheading that. I haven't heard anything, just got some updates on where we are, what that's going to look like, and how we might be able to contribute in that.
I have a question, for the SEL support, the loss of support, is that, a body count issue or a systems issue?
I think as we were talking, it's both. It's both. It's some of the teachers that were saying like when there's a physical altercation happening in the classroom or where they were and they're calling for help, they don't get any response. And so like Linda and I were talking about possibly having volunteers that are willing to walk through scenarios to flesh out the process of some teachers like, I'm in the middle of breaking up a fight, I can't write an actual referral form for 2 minutes or 5 minutes while I'm trying to also manage the 27 officers. So we're just trying to flesh that out.
Kind of both.
Okay. All right. So, hopefully fairly soon there'll be a communication going out on what will and won't be happening with the ED and short-term, long-term type work. Because it's, there's so many things that's related to it.
I have a question actually about lack of feeling appreciated, right? So has there been a change? Was there a time where everybody felt appreciated or most people did and then it deteriorated, or has this been the theme for a while?
I think it's been the theme for a while.
Okay.
And I think it's the nature of being constructive within that intrinsic motivation. That's what we want to instill in our students. but I think as humans, you need to hear some kind of feedback. And ideally, it would be valid and so positive areas of where you need some work on. I think it was important for them to hear. And I think as a community, we would do it colleague to colleague. But as the teams have changed so much, new teams have come in, you know, definitely, personally for myself, being here for a while, I think that's definitely changed. I'm like the old person on the staff now. I used to be the young person, you know, like, and it's different, you know, and,
Do you feel like, as a tangent to that, do you feel like it's just, I mean, obviously it's a morale issue, but it's just a feeling, or again, is it a lack of systems in place where you can get that consistent feedback, whether it's constructive or not? Both.
I think the reason why that came up was the additional responsibilities that were being asked. Like normally people would be like, I am all for it, whatever it is to help the students, to help the community. And I would go an extra mile if I was told, like, you know what, I already know you're doing a lot, and I'm asking a lot of you, but this is what I'm asking you, if you can do this additional. And people would be like, yes, I didn't get thanked for the last event I did, or whatever it was, or the last time I stayed after hours, and no one said anything to me. Why am I going to do that again? Yeah. You know, I think that's where it came.
Do you think that it needs to be done verbal, or would like, monthly sort of newsletters praising people? Is there a particular way that people you think want that kind of praise? Is that gonna happen at PD? Is the recognition happening at PD? Do we create a system that during PD, some people are acknowledged for what they've done in the previous quarter or month? Or is it something more unique to each individual that you think is necessary?
I think it should be a mix of, like, I think that people receive things in a different way. Some people like it private, some people like it public. I think it's also formal and informal. You know, I've heard people say, I haven't turned this in because I don't know what's going to happen to, like, I don't get an actual evaluation. I don't get any actual formal feedback. So why am I going to turn in what, like, we don't know what the end goal is. And I think that's some of the feedback.
So you're asking both systems also and attainment culture.
And can you identify when you think the culture changed? So that when you were getting that kind of regular feedback and then now people are not? Because then we can identify like what was the systems in place then versus now. Or maybe people have just shifted and they need a different type of recognition or.
I think it's a mix of all. I mean, it's the change in like the leadership that we've had, you know, in the past couple of years. I think it's the change in the team and the systems and how different grade level teams operate, or just learning about the culture. So they've shifted the culture because they weren't, you know, used to they weren't privy to the previous culture of, you know, how the staff was running and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Non-teaching staff rep? Okay. Director report.
Okay. Okay, so, coming back as always to our mission. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Can you hear me, Margot? Yes. Okay, great. So, reminding us that it's about inspiring, challenging civic engagement, that is really embracing learning through the arts. Today, we have enrollment and demographics updates, outreach targets, which have been developed with the community engagement manager, a development update, and board district 5 elections. I do not have SBAC, third grade, disaggregated schools yet. I reached out for some support, to be able to have someone help us do that. Here's a little photo of Eagle Rock in action, just to remind you about the work you're doing and why you're doing this work. So you've got roller coasters, a little bit of Rube Goldberg making, family portraits, outdoor play with water, just a whole lot of fun. Rather not, but okay.
To the screen.
Yeah, you don't have to be on it.
You don't have to be on it, they just want to see that.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm not about directing the live stream. I don't want to have to add that to the thing today, so I'm just sort of.
Got it.
enrollment update. So, from what we had, norm day, as you can see, this is where we were when our funding was set for T1 coming through. We are now at 433 and 96 from elementary to middle. Our FRO percentage has dropped a little bit, even though our enrollment has increased, so kids coming and going, the ones coming in are not FRO versus the ones that, so that's part of the change here. Homeless foster has not changed, special education has increased a bit. EL, but we lost one from each school. Any questions there?
Sorry, so the norm day is, that's the count,
That's
428 was the
October 2nd.
count, and it's obviously gone up.
It
elementary.
has
In
gone up,
elementary, down in.
but we were down from where we anticipated at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So Johanna and I, met for, a while, and Nika gave, recommendations as far as what we should be targeting this year. And so the idea of the goals and what we're about to, uncover are partially just for sustainability of school and also for looking towards renewal, because we have renewal coming up in the summer. So for targets, these are again, targets. Annual gives of $125,000 in the budget, $100,000 allocated for donations, and $25,000 in events. Currently, we're about 40K and 16K. Our enrollment target was 440, so Betsy, this is where you were looking at that.
Right.
I'm sorry, I have 433, I didn't change this, it's 433, so 434, we lost it. But here's where we are. To get out of the deficit that we had, we needed 540 kids. Okay?
And question on the giving,
Mm-hmm.
it would be probably helpful to know, like, where should, if our goal is 125, right? Then where are we in that projection over the course of the school year,
Yeah,
right?
I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe that should scare us, or maybe that shouldn't scare us based on what our give normally is.
Just to clarify too, is this starting at the fiscal year beginning or the academic year?
Our
For the annual
give,
give projection?
well, our collection technically starts fiscal year, so someone should write us a check in July.
Okay,
It's definitely in there.
okay, all right.
So I'll come back to this, because the numbers, the ones from XED where I'm counting on, because this has not been, what's the word, I can't remember right now. It hasn't been reconciled, okay? So there's a slide on development, we'll go a little further. Lottery, 2020 with Apply LA, these are the targets. Joanna and I talked about a 3-to-1 ratio, so 3 applications per seat. So these are the targets from the 3-to-1 ratio that we're trying to get at. And then here's the current lottery numbers as of today. So we have another 6 weeks to continue to push. There's been a lot of work for direct mailing, boosts. We've started a Google ad campaign as well.
Are the targets for the lower grades based on open spots we currently
These
have?
are open spots. So right now, I'm anticipating about 6 to 10 spots here. It's not confirmed in these grades, but this is general trend or open spaces that we have. This is open seats for sure.
That's the 3-to-1?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And down here is where we're, this is just lottery, not enrollment.
Right.
Good. The next target cluster is looking for renewal and having Jackie Goldberg come visit. We actually have a parent who knows her chief of staff, and they've been working on an initiative together, a green initiative, so we're gonna push that a little further and then create an invite. Also, Joanna's working on testimonials from parents, and we're trying to do about, I think, like 1 a month right now, or a couple of months, of different parents calling Goldberg's office, and depending on where elections turn out, as we ramp up toward renewal, all of the board members' offices, just so that they hear about us over time. So there's 4 seats up, and that's a lot of new people to have to educate about our program. And then, really importantly, and I'm gonna ping everyone on this board, because as a school, we can't do this, it is to help push election education. As you know, there's a lot of charter anti-charter, pro-charter,
Rhetoric.
thank you, out there. And so, CCSA has been starting a campaign up, and I, as a personal person, will be joining meetings on, as, not as an employee, but other people can as well, but the school needs to remain. Talk a little bit more about that later.
Linda, about the lottery, is there, I know since we're in get the word out mode, is there, still a push to get the NPR reporter here before lottery?
We've tried many hooks for her.
Okay.
She said she'll come and she can't.
Okay.
We actually invited, I think Joanna invited her over to the Day of the Dead.
Right. Yeah.
Um, here's an example of all the different outreach, things that have been happening, both external and internal. So give you a moment to look at that. With development, here's the breakdown.
Quick question, I'm sorry about the outreach.
Mhm.
Are those, are we just present for those? Are we flyering? Are we fingering? Are we?
I think it is, some are, a lot of them are very active, so either flyering or tabling. So like, and some are visits and just passing out flyers outside if they're not having a forum of their own. Things like Gift of Art is more internal. It was an event that, our community is creating things that they're selling and the children are sharing their artwork, but we invite the community as opposed to just us families.
Do you find the community comes out to that?
Not Gift of Art, not so much. Museum Day, we get a lot of different visitors, but that's all the way until June. Museum Day is actually it's like in its third, it's been going for 3 years now. Last year, we had a lot of external people come to Museum Day. Kind of like a big open house.
And in general, how is the response from the community? Are they engaging with us or, you know, have we gotten responses from?
Do they apply right away, or
Yeah,
do they take applications?
From these, or is it,
We do get students from these. We are tracking where we ask them where they hear about us. So far, the biggest and consistently has been word of mouth. And that goes to our demographic too. Continual look of trying to increase our demographic. Okay?
Yeah.
Going on, what time are we at?
45 minutes? 20 minutes.
All right, I'll do it quick. So, what you saw in the first one was an estimate based on, what we've been tracking. But this is actually as of November close, because that's when excise closes up. So we are low on track, to Kiana's point, because if you think as of November, we've been in operation for the 5 months, right? Out of the 12. However, the December Giving Tuesday push yielded about 10K in that one day. So that topped us up with, along with the regular carpool annual give, which is why we think we're around 40 right now.
Do we know what the matching was yet?
We won't know if we got matched. It's not an automatic match, it's a random match. Because they'll match 7 million and they'll tell you sometime in March.
Okay.
So here's our difference as of 11:30, but know that by March board meeting, that's going to jump up significantly based on December work. And here's some event raises. Parent Night Out also got postponed for the same reason that PTA is considering postponing the dance, because it was supposed to be Friday. Development report, number of grants submitted since last board meeting. One was submitted, one submitted total, for this year. And so what has come in, Donaldson Show of Trust, we received a letter, we haven't seen, the check yet, or, we got an approval by email. Amundsen that came in, just FYI, Amundsen is leaning toward not supporting charters anymore. And so, we were encouraged by the senior program manager to really push how the technology grant has helped us get. So Mindy Jones at Amundsen, she actually helped fund our first move-in here from Amundsen, so she has an affinity for this. And then Nick wrote a grant for, special ed for inclusion, and that came in at $62,500. That grant is not gonna be activated until next year, it's really 2020. So it's for professional development for behavior, support, tier 2, tier 3. It is also for, consultants for inclusion, also consultants for behavior. It's all in your board doc.
Yeah, thank you, that's awesome. I have a question, so besides the COP3, are there any other restrictions we need to be aware of on this grant, like in terms of the spending?
Oh, absolutely. Amundsen
Okay.
is spending, it's in, out mostly.
Okay,
Yeah. So far we've bought, like right now we're buying a set of laptops for the visual arts in there because there was 30,000 for
But
that.
it's middle school, right?
No,
Okay.
Amundsen, we're applying to both schools.
okay.
Yeah. And so when we do the financials, you'll see Amundsen being applied to Amundsen.
But that's the tech one.
For tech.
That's the tech grant. So Amundsen is tech,
Okay.
Wi-Fi, green screen, cameras,
Okay, okay,
mostly towards the media art, visual arts there.
okay, okay. And then the other one?
The Donaldson is, for intervention, the Walton is for middle school. Glassell Park was for the VR pieces, it's split across the schools, because we are gonna use it, elementary's gonna have a dabble in it.
But none of these are gen op.
Only Parsons was in up.
Okay.
I
Okay.
talked to Parsons, we could probably, after this year's over, we could reapply for another gen op.
What does that
If they
mean?
still like charters.
General operations, that we
Yeah.
can use it for.
I don't
Already
think Parsons
has
is gonna have a problem with,
Oh, you said Parsons, not Amundsen.
Amundsen's having a problem
Right,
with
okay.
this kind of stuff, yeah, politically.
Yeah.
with that. And then for District 5 elections, so this is LA, right here in Glendale. This is DD5, it stretches all the way to Bell. It's a really weird district, right? So Jackie Goldberg is representing all of these folks right here and us. And we're in a particularly funny place because when we attract kids, you know, our radius goes into, yeah, so Glendale. And so, I think I already sort of covered it, but we're gonna remain neutral to school. We're gonna try, Johanna's gonna work on getting a forum here to get the candidates here. If they'll come, I know someone else is already hosting one for Council 14 this week. Salud. And I think this is a point I wanna push for everyone here. Make sure if you're advocating, especially with, as board members, with board emails, it has to be done through personal communication now.
For hosting a forum here, do you think it would help to host with the partner with a non-charter district school? In case anyone, candidates have issues coming to a charter? Is there a way to do that?
I don't know, we can look, yeah.
Don't we have a couple of schools we do things with?
Charters mostly. Alessandro's the only non-charter that we partner with, like, for YCAP. But Alessandro, there are 8 principals who's not in,
Collaborative.
let's say, like, willing to take risks. The old one was like, you know, he's been around. He was great. And then, really it's this idea of narrow narrative, that, you know, like, how come all of their for-profits, there's still that rhetoric out there. And then all people are, you know, there are charters that screwed up from the mini charters, this is the charter stuff. So, let's close it down there. That's directed support. Back to you.
So, moving on to, consent agenda. Oh, is there a student report today?
I do not think so, no.
Moving on to consent agenda, is there anything anyone needs to take off consent? I will say, Lisa and I cannot technically vote on the November minutes, because we weren't at that meeting, so we should pull that, correct?
Okay.
Vote separately?
Okay.
Will we have quorum without you two?
To vote on the
Yeah.
November?
Yes,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so we're pulling
November.
we're pulling the special board and regular board meetings.
So, yeah,
Minutes.
so we need a motion to, approve the consent agenda without items A and B.
I motion to approve consent agenda items except for items A and B to be removed.
Any discussion? Could we have, a roll call vote? Here?
Aye.
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 Ayes have it.
The ayes have it, the motion passes,
Motion to, can you
to
motion?
approve, to approve.
Yeah.
So we now need, a motion to approve item A from the consent agenda.
I motion to approve, items A, minutes from November 21st, 2019 special board meeting.
You have a second? Sorry. Mary seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No,
You abstain.
Sorry.
Abstain. Aye. Okay, can we have a motion to approve item B from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve, consent agenda item B, minutes from November 21st meeting, regular board meeting.
You have a second?
I second.
Betsy? Any discussion? Okay, a roll call vote, please. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Aye. Okay, moving on to item I, new meeting requirements.
What? Oh, yes, aye.
Aye.
No, it's K.
Okay. Oh, am I looking at it wrong? Oh,
Okay,
I'm
new
looking
meeting
at the wrong
requirements.
agenda item. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
that's enough.
item scheduled for information action. Okay.
Yes, so this is no longer consent.
Yep.
So just FYI, just to reiterate, as of January 1st, there's a new law where, board meetings need to have audio and or video recordings to be posted on their website.
Okay.
And so hence, we have our video. Johanna is, the other part of the law is schools with multiple sites need to have open access at all of their sites for open meeting compliance.
Regardless if they're there or not, anyone's there?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, at this point, Johanna is over at the other site. She is there in case someone should decide to come and participate. And hence, that's why on our, agendas, you have both addresses.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we no longer do the call-in address anymore,
Mm-hmm.
Unless we're doing a teleconference for everyone and they're going to open up their, if they're calling in, we will need your home address or your location that you're going to be at a Starbucks, wherever it is. It cannot be a car. It has to be a physical location where someone who wants to attend can drive there and attend. And it has to be ADA accessible. So that's why, if you were to call in and we don't have you agendized, you will not be part of quorum.
You can discuss, listen in, and be involved, but you can't vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you do not count for the class.
And so this is,
You can listen from out of
You know-
state.
you know, well, 'cause let me get back to you on that.
Just thinking, because originally I was going to be today, so I could
Technically,
have
you're
called in,
supposed to
but-
be in what our district is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone wants to
But
drive
how
here
do you
every
do
day
that?
from Arizona, we can't refuse them, but is that really in the spirit of?
There is an update on that, and I will
Okay.
verify that.
Okay.
I can't remember off the
But I
top of
could
my
still
head right
call
now.
it in with
You can call in and listen. I think the real challenge is with establishing quorum.
Yeah.
And this is, again, another, version of the sort of accountability, the increased levels of accountability and transparency being exercised.
So if you need to call in, you need to request a call-in number, because it's not gonna be on the agenda.
Right.
Okay.
Well, sorry. If you are going to call in, we need to have your address.
72
Yeah.
hours ahead.
And it has to be 72 hours ahead. Yeah. So like Margot, right now, is calling in to participate, but she's not part of, the club. Okay. All right, so that was an FYI. Number 2, board communications. Okay, I have, when I have met up with you guys independently, I've been asking if your LFCSA email is active and is forwarding or whatever manner necessary. We're gonna do a roll call on that and see if not, we will help troubleshoot. So, Michelle, can you roll call, and then we're gonna see who has emails active and receiving, because I will no longer send it to your personal ones. And this is due to Public Records Request Act, trying to ensure that your personal emails are not part of.
You can set up a forward, right?
Yep. Okay. You can take your LCSA email, set up a forward, get it in your regular email, but when you're responding, make sure you're replying from your LFCSA account. That way you'll get noted instead of having to open and check it randomly. All right, Betsy, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay, Mary,
Yeah.
okay, Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
Kiana, Margot,
I need to set the email up, so I would need some instructions.
okay,
Michelle, that's you for Michelle.
okay, Lisa,
I need to be just reset up.
okay,
Yeah.
Nika,
I'm set up and I'm also monitoring the LFCSA board.
okay, Amy?
Yes.
All right, so we're missing just two. All right, so Michelle,
Jerry's been using that for a while.
Yes,
He's set up
okay.
on this board.
thank you. So Michelle, please get Margot and Lisa, a reset and instructions. Thank you.
And it could be good.
Yeah.
All right, so item M, administrative advisory team.
So if you recall, this is also to help reduce and streamline, because every Brown Act meeting will be applied to all the transparency laws, and just the agendizing is very difficult. There are some board committees that are in existence and continue to be Brown Act committees. These are advisory teams. I am just double checking right now with, is this good? And then if so, if not, who should we switch where? And some teams are started, some teams need to launch. And so figure out how we do that.
So executive committee
Mhm.
is still intact as a Brown Act committee.
Yeah.
Did you get clarification on the director eval? Can that be advisory team, or does that need to be Brown Act?
Directors can't be a part of it, so.
Right, no, but I mean,
Then it can't be advisory to me. It has to be Brown Act.
okay, because you have it there as an advisory team. so-
Then I'm wrong, okay.
Okay.
This is from, sorry,
Okay,
okay.
and audit can be advisory, correct?
Audit is advisory because they will, full board will still look at the audit.
Okay, so it's only, as far as we know, it's only executive committee and the director evaluation committee that are Brown Act committees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Linda responds, and no, I don't want the committee. Closing. Okay, so with respect to that then, there are some, like the development networking, the outreach, there are pieces going, for instance, PTA, your person, that you've just bringing on board for outreach would be great to have on this team. It's a multi-level, so it'd have board perspective, PTA perspective, parent perspective, staff perspective, to continue to push those, all the efforts are streamlined together. And so I think, I'll be pinging you all for getting doodling calendars on. And if they're smaller committees, maybe you want to start your own doodle thing, so I don't have to chase you.
What is your plan as far as how long, how often you want the advisory team to meet? Is it still an off-month structure?
I have off months for some. I am not clear for strategic plan. So for rebranding, I wasn't part of that conversation, so I don't know how.
We're gonna meet this week.
Okay, I think these teams need to develop their flow.
Yeah, because those are, both those last two teams
Mhm.
are, linked to renewal and merging, so they're on a sort of a different,
Yeah.
almost a crunch timeline.
So I would offer, that's why I put two, for
Okay.
me, these teams, these three, feel like those teams need to set their timeline.
Okay.
Like, the frequency based on the work. And so whatever times, I mean, like myself and Johanna are in some of these teams as well, to be a part of them so we can help flow the work as it goes through the school and helping establish, like, how far we're gonna get in the 5 months that we have.
Question, is there a meeting with the order of the name, or like as far as responsibility?
No,
Sharing.
Yeah, just curious.
I think you
Who
meet,
who
and
makes
then.
sure we
important to
meet?
know.
Who makes sure we meet? So this is, thank you.
First
So
slot,
this is administrative advisory team. It is not a board committee.
She's
Okay,
asking you to
okay,
move
yeah.
her off the top line.
I mean, I'm Saw
And
my name in 2 places. That's all I needed to know.
what I'm asking is, for someone to partner and help me facilitate.
Okay,
Because for me, it's gonna be hard to chase after folks. So if I
Okay.
have someone who helps me chase,
okay.
that's,
We'll help you check.
So did
Okay.
you want a volunteer from each to,
that'd be great.
I'm
Okay,
sending out
rather
a
than
doodle
appoint-
poll to the development and networking team right now.
Clarify the development
Darren.
and networking team. Is that, so last year, Verena had a development committee
Mhm.
and a design and communication committee. There are parents there who, some who are still want to be involved, but there hasn't been, I have not activated those things back up. And because there was this work here, it makes sense to sort of merge. The development is really about the fundraising, the event. So like, for instance, right now, if, in T2, we're gonna be doing, oh my goodness, I forget, but we have a T2 benchmark and a June benchmark. One of them's gonna be a phone bank, you know, and so like, how do we help organize that to make sure we get to our goal? What do we do as a last minute push to make sure we reach annual give? Or do we host a big night out, which is on the radar right now, right, at one of the bars that the parent has to have a big event? So that's that work right there. So fundraising, partners,
networking?
Partnership, yeah.
right, okay. The outreach team is all about what you saw on that list earlier with, like the events we're going to and who we're going to, what's really yielding us. You know, is it visiting the preschool helping, or is there another way to do it, right?
But not just, the outreach is not just geared towards, blanket enrollment increase, it's also geared towards, increasing the FRL percentage.
Yep. Yeah. And so, Johanna and I have targets that we've set. So when this committee comes together, we'd like to share the plan and get the feedback and input so that we can amend the targets. Rebranding strategic plan, I think.
Strategic a 3-year plan, that we're gonna continue work on with a former board member and Verena, and the rebranding has been, we've been talking about that for a long time, but we wanna do it at the same time as the merge and the renewal.
So it is
It's 7. Yeah.
7, so I'm gonna ask, can we quickly get people who would be willing to help be the chasers for each of these committees?
I'm the chaser.
I'm the
Development.
chaser for the rebranding. You wanna go committee by committee?
Yeah, so
Finance?
finance, you know what, I think Lisa's gonna be the chaser, forwards on that one.
Okay.
Outreach? All right,
Director's me?
we're yeah.
Oh, that's not it, yeah.
Audit, we just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only do it once or twice. a year.
Yeah.
We're done with that. I was, I
Development,
was on the last one.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Thank you. Rebrand,
Yeah, you did it.
That's me.
all right. Strategic,
Me.
okay, thank you.
Okay, we need to, pause and, 7 o'clock and recess into closed session.
And for closed session, I'm gonna say we go to Richard Kalamazoo. Okay, because the, community corner is
I'm
got
gonna
folded.
take you in there, Martha. I'm gonna take you into the closed session.
Up to you if you wanna hear the question. Alita, have to go, right, so. Okay. Johanna, ping me at about 7:50. We'll probably be in closed session till at least then.
I had a rough start, sorry. I know. Learning how to handle this. No, we were like, we looked at the time, we were like, we jumped all over. Oh, I think we were thinking about all the new stuff, and just ready to go again. But you know, it's really, I was saying, things that we were on the website, like, we see the development, live stream, and I saw it this year. I really,
Then the day before you go to sleep, how you go in the library, you guys, you go, wait a minute, I know what this is. You know what I mean? Like, now you know what it's gonna be, so the brain is like, probably like, you know, around, huh?
No, they're still on the phone. I have to go though.
Thank you.
everybody go home, you can hear, go home.
No, there's still, there is, it's on the list of classroom for closed session.
Oh, since you don't know, everybody go home. Hey, why you know, tell me about this, yes, and the last time, they said to me, you said, leave it like, you put it like that, and you did. Yeah, you know, something, they changed the date.
Oh, I didn't tell
It's
you?
supposed to be the 29. No, and then the last time they have come in.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It wasn't even the one. No, I said, I have it here. You just put it here like that, like, you know. Yeah. Yesterday, this time you're sleeping already.
I go to bed at 8:30.
Oh, you need to now that one is here.
But I can't do it. So it's over. I gotta go home tomorrow for some birthday.
Ooh.
I always leave the room, so when he wakes up in the morning, tonight I have to leave the room. So that when he wakes up, I can see it.
How old is it?
25.
Well, they say like 25. The father sleeping there.
I didn't see what I did. I didn't see what I did at 8:30. I go to bed. I don't know what I did.
No? I go home, get a coffee, and watch TV.
You get a coffee at night?
Yeah. You do nothing to me anymore. They're relaxing. Yeah, because then because I have a very, very bad habit. I have a habit. I like it. Yeah, this is good raised like that. If you go any home over there where I live, people have a habit. And then, you know, I go, lay down in there, watch TV, and then bring my coffee and follow the picture of baby. I don't know, but I like it. I mean, yeah, when I'm very small, yeah, swimming. And we fall asleep over there, it's not go driving and block it and come back. No way. Yeah, this is why I have a habit. 7, go walk every morning. Yeah, and then come back and walk my dog, and then go take a nap for maybe 1 hour. Do my breakfast.
No wonder you're so happy.
Get my glass of wine. Yeah, I think first sleep a little bit and come back. And we got 5. One? Yeah, traffic. I don't know how you guys do it.
There's a girl from North Beach,
That traffic.
and it's like on the 710 freeway, but truck gets
How you do before when you driving all the way to Florida?
I don't know who that girl was, and what she was doing. It was hard. It was because back then,
There's more traffic.
and I would have to, in the morning, I had all that practice, and I had to drop my kid off at school, and I had to pick him up after, and then drive back to Long Beach. I was like,
I don't know. I don't know how the people do it. I can drive them out.
sometimes back in the day, I used to have Sabra. Sabra used to work here. They were like, okay. Sometimes I used to have Sabra go to them. I thought this I could have her go to
When my kids grow up, they don't like to work. I get used to work in the afternoon because my wife used to work in the morning and in the night. They take care of them, bring them to school, and then go to work.
yeah, I like them. like getting up that early, so I like to get, I think,
When you don't work for time, you will get 8. See?
actually, on Saturdays, I get up at, Saturdays, I get up at 6:40, and Sundays, 6:15.
7 o'clock, you hear my dog like, crying in the door.
I have to get up because I have to go to the gym with her in the morning to Lincoln.
Yeah.
He works the gym.
I go watch the university and
Downtown. Starbucks, Lincoln. We work out. We walk back, we get food, back to the house, and then we like food. So I'm every day. No food.
I try, I can assist.
I'll get a headache if I try. I'm a doctor or something.
Yeah. I don't know how the people do it. People, my house, everybody is really late. 11. Yeah, 12.
Mm-hmm.
7 is the latest.
I'm not hopefully friends with that.
Another thing I like a lot, is I never use regular sheet, always I like to make it on my.
It's heavier and keeps you warm.
Yeah. I don't know why.
You use it in your hammock?
Yeah. Yeah.
8:12, we are reconvening to, open session. We do have actions to report out. Oh my God, it's so cold in here and they've been dressing with like two.
All right, let's get rolling for the rest.
Okay, close session. Uh-huh.
We'll be reporting out shortly.
Deanna, do you want to report out?
Yep,
She has the actual language of the,
it's on the,
Where are we?
I can say these out loud, right?
You can say the motions first, second, and,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, on the case for the Los Angeles Unified versus Los Feliz Charter School for the Arts, Tiana moved to hire YMC to represent us in dispute resolution against LAFC. Uh-huh. Michelle? All ayes. And then, the next one was this, initiate dispute resolution on,
so,
what was the second one?
so authorizing the executive director to work with YMC to initiate dispute resolution regarding special education.
Yeah, that.
That is, that's the motion.
That's the,
There's 3 motions coming out.
that's the second one.
somewhere, I think it's.
Authorize the executive director to work with Young Mini and Core on initiating litigation regarding special education.
Lisa seconded. All ayes. Kiana moves. And then the third one?
Authorize the executive director to work with Young Mini and Core on dispute resolution regarding special education.
Kiana moves. Mary seconded. The vote, Amy abstained. All the others are ayes. You got it? The second one? The second one, Linda? She wants to hear the second one again.
Oh my gosh.
This was the,
Motion to authorize the executive director to work with Young Mini and Core on initiating litigation regarding special education. Sorry. You keep catching me with my mouth full.
you got it? Okay. Moving on.
Okay, so back on to the next item on the agenda.
I suppose we do elementary financials before we do middle school.
Are you doing the financials or?
Because we moved the board meeting, Lisa has a current board meeting on the same date for another school, so
Okay.
finance committee, advisory, oh gosh. Finance advisory team is going to report out
Okay.
and,
All right.
you wanna go, you want me to go?
You should go.
All right, so I'm gonna refer us to the dashboard, as, you're familiar, how fuzzy is that okay?
No,
No,
fine.
it's fine.
Okay, so, as you can see, oh, well, I'm gonna do it by arrow, is the arrow okay, this, I have to do it like this? Okay, so we were budgeted for 5.96 million, we're currently forecasted at 5.3, variance is 661,000. Our expenses, we're budgeted at 5.93 million, forecasted right now 5.34 million, variance of 590,000. So, as you know, the drop in ADA caused this variance, and we have been reducing expenses to match that as well. So currently, we have our month 4 actual enrollment was 433 students, lower than what was budgeted by 42. The actual average ADA was 95.3, which is good because we budgeted at a 95% rate, so we're hovering above that. It's not an included deficit. And so most of this issue is the lower ADA and the cuts that we've been making to try to maintain balance. Currently, as we scroll down here to look at net income, what we had forecasted initially with that original budget was a $25,000 net income. Now, currently in the budget, we are moved to a $28,000 net income on the forecast. Although the variance is low between these two numbers, you can see from the numbers above, the variance is pretty high. But we're trying to bring it back. Last month, last meeting we had when you had the updated financials, I think we were like negative 40K in elementary and negative 77 in middle school. So I want to do the financial review first and kind of explain why you're seeing the change after we do both schools, just as a review of where we are in current status. Any questions regarding this change of net income, the difference from forecast?
I'm just curious about what you did to cut the cost.
Just add some zeros. No. So there's a lot happening hold that question, let me do the middle school really quick.
No problem.
Okay. Because they're intricately tied.
Okay.
And you can also see from the variance notes that Lisa gave, but, in looking at the dashboard for middle school, where we are right now, it was budgeted at 1.53 million, forecasted, is 1.7, so it's actually higher in revenue. Okay? And that has to do with, as you know, the Walton grant that came in, right? And then now we have, the Amundsen is actually being applied to both schools, so that's part of what's helping. What is budgeted, for expenses was 1.5, and then the forecasted now is down, 1.76. This all has to do with, we're spending more now because we have the revenue.
Yes.
Now. So upside downside shot right now, middle school, the forecast, for the middle school was 25K. When we made the budget, we're at now negative 31,000. So, it's, well, this is a real mixed bag. So there are several things happening to make these numbers what they are today compared to the negative 125,000 we were a couple months ago. One major thing was, Lisa and I have been taking a lot of the grant pieces and capitalizing the expenditures across the year. So through capitalization, it has really helped us because we're spreading the expense across the life of, for instance, the $100,000 in laptops is now costing us $20,000 this year, right? Because we're capitalizing it across 5 years of a life. So things like the VR headset, all of that capitalization is actually saving us quite a bit. The Amundsen grant that came in is very specific. There are things that are just in and out. There are some things like there was a outreach cost, or I'm sorry, website cost. And so Johanna's been working on the website, so I'm folding her salary into that cost instead of hiring an outside consultant. So finding ways to allocate it to already existing people. So this change right now is what we're forecasting now prior to our closed session meeting and prior to any settlement we have from Prop 39. But I can say with the forecast of negative 31,000, I could probably shave that down a little further. I haven't finished the grant work yet with the Amundsen coming in. This is also, though, going back to the development committee, based on the assumption that we're going to get the 125K in as a gift. I'm just going to put that on radar. I do want to put on radar that the middle school ADA is just shy of 95. It's 94.9. So there could be a little chunk of loss there.
But if we end in the red, that's gonna hurt renewal.
Well, okay, thank you. So elementary's in the black, middle school's in the red. The piece that's helping me do this, and it is legal, just want to say that, it's legal, is the fact that we are, initially when we created the budget, we split the salaries based on ADA. So, for instance, if you consider us as an entire organization, 81% of our students are elementary students, 19% of our students are middle school students. My salary was 81 and 19, right? In order to help the 81 that the elementary was shouldering the burden of, we made admin salaries 50-50. And that allowed the shift of the load, which is why middle school, even though it got all the grants, is still shouldering a deficit right now. Does that help explain it? Yeah. Okay. Should circumstances change, should elementary, I mean, we have the ability to shift that back to an ADA model or continue with the 50 model.
Technically, should we just be sticking with one of those for a fiscal year before we change it? Or are you
Well,
switching it
Well, we started at 8119, now we're
Okay.
50/50. So
Okay.
should something change, I can go back to 8119, but that's just a lot of reclassification backward of salary.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, it's a flexibility and decision point that we have because we have middle school here on this campus. It is
Right, right,
integrated,
right.
we're
Okay.
sharing all these costs. So that's an advantage point we have. I'm doing it with admin salaries and with Evelyn as art director.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some flexibility to make some back to ADA. And I think of it rationally with respect to like who's working really 50/50 with law students, or who might be really just 8119. But that's what we got. Any questions on that?
So we need to vote on financials and the check registers, right?
Yes.
I have a question, this is a dumb question.
No
considering
question.
how long
No
I've been here. Do we normally pay the artists in residence
Yes, honorariums we have.
honoraries?
Yeah. Actually, that's a PTA fund. They write us a check ahead of time,
Oh,
or sometimes retroactively, and we pay them because they become, we have to go live scan and all of
like
that.
that, yeah, got you, okay. All right, so, can we have a motion on the table for, item N, LFC, that middle school, November financials with check registers?
I move to approve the, item N, LFCMSA, November 2019 financials with trust registers.
Can we have a second? Amy, second. Any, discussion? Yeah, a roll call vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a motion on the table for item O?
I motion to approve item O, LFCSA, November 2019 financials with check registers.
Can we have a second? Michelle? Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the ayes have it, the motion passes. Okay, item P, select audit firm.
Montano.
Montano.
Montano. Montano.
She's a very phonetic reader. Select audit firm, so audit committee,
Yes. Oh, I'm not on it.
you're not on it.
I was on it last. I had to do the last
I
one.
know.
you.
Oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
Lisa.
Yeah, I was there. I was at the meeting. So basically,
Wait, what's the
so
meeting?
basically, we decided to continue on because there was no compelling reason to switch audit firms. It wasn't a cost savings, it wasn't an issue of quality. So I recommend that we continue on with the current firm. So,
Can we have a motion on the table for item Q?
sure, I'll move. So I move to, continue on with the current audit firm.
Can we have a second?
Aye. Tiana.
Any discussion? Roll call vote? Aye.
Montano.
It's like Montana, but with a no. No, wait, we do this with other names.
Montano.
No,
Montano.
She said Montana.
So now you're gonna.
Now I'm confused. Montana or Montana?
Montano.
Okay.
But it ain't different than people, or like if I say it that way, it's like, oh, okay. But now I'm gonna call you Montano. Either way. I'm not picky, I don't know any of this.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And the motion passes. You're just Michelle M. now.
Yeah.
Okay, item Q, academic calendar.
All right, so, this is really too hard to read, but you have it in your drive. I based it mostly off of LA Unified start date and break dates. One of the teacher feedbacks when Debbie and I met was teachers were very unhappy that I put a pupil-free day last Friday, before we came back from break, during the winter break.
Meaning we wanted it just a day off,
But normally we haven't had it on a Friday before coming back.
so they had to come back early, a weekend
Usually
early.
on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, a day early.
Yeah,
So
but
the
that
Friday
was
of the week, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so, I told her I would put a feedback thing into the weekly bulletin. I asked for feedback. I got one response. Hers. And so basically we had a discussion that if we were to move it, then we would have to end school on Monday, which is really hard on ADA because people just like don't they don't come.
Yeah.
And then we try to play with other options. So on the table right now, is this version, and then moving forward for the next year's calendar is one thing that I am seeing that is not as effective is the parent conference days that we are offering on full pupil free. Some of our teachers wind up trying to schedule parent conferences before and after school so they can have that day off. Not everyone, some use it, so I think we're gonna need to do a staff assessment to determine whether or not that is good, and we also need to do a parent assessment onto whether or not that is helpful. So at this point,
Did a parent, survey go out on the calendar?
no.
I know it hasn't passed years.
It did when we first started because we were doing a shortened day and we were having our first kids matriculate. I haven't had anyone make a beep about calendar for the past 2 years, 3 years. This is the first year it made a beep because of the Friday, January 10th, pupil free day. And so,
This was the first 3-week break though,
yeah,
because I did see a lot of,
Oh my God, why are my kids still at my house?
yeah.
I did see a lot of that going on, and I'm like, everyone is, so, you know.
Yeah. So I made that comment, but I know it doesn't feel that way to the teachers. So, because it used to be 2.5 week break.
Yeah, it used to be,
Yeah, a little shorter. So at this point, we, aside from then waiting to get more feedback, because I feel like I gave the opportunity for feedback, is to move forward with this calendar, and I did have a session with the person who gave me feedback about the rationale why not. We have, just so you know, oh goodness, it's going off awfully here. This is the 6-week pupil free day to look at data. So this is our smartphone day for when we have data in from initial assessment. This is parent conference day. This is supposed to be a follow-up PD day either for TT data, since we have the report card in. There was a day for planning here, forward for the next trimester. Here again is parent conference. Here's another SMART goal data day, because we have trimester 2 data in. And then we give a people free at the end, so we can close shop and reflect. So the contract is 187 days. The proposal that was given on feedback was to remove one of these days, which would help the budget. I told her that doesn't help the budget because teachers are contracted for what he said was if you wanted to help the budget, we would do a pay cut. It's just like they won't want to pay cut for the day.
As far as how the calendar affects ADA, have you thought about, and maybe this works better at the high school level than this level, instead of doing early dismissal or late start one day a week?
We have talked about that in the past.
I know LFCSA does it, which means kids can get all their doctor appointments in the morning, get to school, instead of, pulling kids out of school.
I don't necessarily think we have we're pretty good on the independent, we're much better on the independent study. And plus, if they still come to school, they get credit, so it's not the appointment issue. I think for the older kids, it's the circadian rhythm, just starting later.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so we need to get a motion on the table, right?
motion to approve or not, or amend?
Well, technically, we should have just put the motion on the table to begin with. Okay, so we need a motion to approve item Q.
I motion to approve item Q 2020-21 academic calendar.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Amy already
Amy
seconded.
seconds.
Okay. So any discussion, any more questions, clarification?
Roll call vote.
No? Okay, roll call vote?
Mary Ford,
Aye.
Michelle Monson,
Montano.
It's just like that other name you and I talk about.
Kiana Patterson, I.
Aye. Seriously, Michelle M., just don't give yourself a heartache. Item R, special education reallocation pilot.
All right, I'm just gonna let you know that this is something available to us, this is informative. If it were to be, activated, it would require your approval. There is a pilot that, as you recall, COP3 schools, so charter option 3 schools, which have banded together to create, their own sort of mini SELPA, so special education local planning area. They have a program where they're piloting if a CMO, so a group, a charter management organization, or an organization that has multiple schools, has one board. The board has the ability to take funds from one school and apply, special education funds from one school and apply it to another. Now, this is a practice in the district that's very common, because that's how they create their how they fund their special education centers, et cetera. I will say that XED is hesitant about this because it is a new practice.
Wait, you just said it's common though.
No, as a district,
Oh, okay.
right? But there are schools in the COP3 who have been doing this now. And the district has not said anything, and they haven't said anything about it in their oversight visits. They haven't said anything in the audit. Because we are, you can imagine, a district of 2 schools.
Right. So
So the idea is, for instance, if we had a child who needed an NPS all of a sudden, and another school had additional extra funding, they could take that funding and allocate it to what they call low incidence or high need students.
but does it have to be funding that was already allocated to special needs at the other schools?
It's special ed funding,
Okay.
and you can allocate it as you
Okay.
need to.
So is there any disadvantage to doing this other than XED doesn't want to?
XED, I think, is nervous about the tracking system, and because it is sort of a new thing for COP3 SELPA schools.
So they're not like nervous about it from a legal standpoint of us getting in trouble or it looking bad. They're just nervous about it as far as their capability.
I think those are tied together. Because if they're, like, their ability to do it, then if the tracking's not there, then it's legal. So it's new,
There are,
Lisa Bolas,
our
finance people.
okay.
And so, at this point, I'm not doing anything, but I'm just making you aware that this has been brought to my attention, that if we wanted to do it, we would apply to COP3 to tell them that this is something we would like to activate if needed.
Oh, we can't just do it on our own.
I would like to be under their guise, because I would like to be along with the other charters that are doing this.
So by a pilot program, does that mean they offer guidance on how to do it, or you're just getting
So
what does this mean?
they called it a pilot when they first started. I actually don't know how many years they've been doing it. It feels like a couple of years at least, because I did hear someone say it at a director's meeting. But they call it pilot. They haven't changed it because basically the district hasn't said anything about it, so they're just keeping it a status quo.
Well, I guess it's more about the program thing. So if we're under the umbrella of this, it just means they're sort of watching over us and making sure we're doing right, and therefore it's legit, because we're a legit part of this program.
Yeah.
And we're not just doing it on our own
Yeah.
side.
Yes.
Okay.
It's officially recognized within the Charter Operated 3. So Charter Operated Programs has its own executive council. It's its own joint powers authority. So it's its own JPA. So I think so this is, I brought this up knowing that we were having this problem.
Mm-hmm.
So in case we need it, we can potentially use it.
Does it cost anything?
No.
Okay.
So here's what's happening. When the charters have come together to create this option 3, we're creating a model that doesn't exist anywhere else in the nation. But it has actually become a very strong model. This is a model where schools are collaborating with each other. Like this grant that we just got is actually from I forget how many schools are in this now. It's like 150 schools are in the COP3. All of our funding is pooled pooled together, and they create extra buckets of funding. So for instance, there's $7 million set aside for grants, right? And then the rest of the money is allocated based on highest needs and percentages of highest needs. So there's a formulaic distribution of what they call grants. So this, the director, Dixon Deutsch, who was brought in from New York, has done a really wonderful job of creating a very transparent and organized SELPA for Option 3 schools. And we've been in it now 2 years, and I can say that the service and the connection is much stronger. Our knowledge base is much stronger because of it. So because he allowed that, and there are schools doing it, I wanted to join in case we needed it.
Well, is there any reason not to join this program and then just only implement it if we decide we want to do that?
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay, so you do want to vote for this?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Should we vote?
No, go ahead.
I'm asking,
No, you're right,
should we vote for, giving you the approval to join?
No,
You don't want to do that?
no, I mean, it's when we activate something that we'll need to make approval
Yeah.
to transfer the funds. This is informational that
Because
we
we're
are part
already
of this.
in the CLCC.
Oh, okay.
We're already
So it's
in,
available
if,
to us.
like, if we want to do that, yeah.
Okay, okay, I thought you said we had to apply.
I have to let him know we're interested, basically. It's not like a,
Okay. Oh, I see, it's not a formal process.
mhm.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we don't need to do anything.
No.
Okay, got it.
Just needs to know.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, item S, special education teacher incentive reimbursement for BCSA.
So, beginning teacher support. So as you know, I have RSP teachers, turnover on RSP teachers, keeping good RSP teachers who aren't gonna get us into like hot water.
Is that everyone's problem?
RSP, special ed is short field, yes.
Okay.
I think one of the things that is to be able, so when teachers get their preliminary credential, they have 5 years to clear the credential. In order to clear it, they have to do what's called an induction program, or sometimes it's called BITSA, BCSA. BITSA programs in the past have ranged anywhere, they used to be low, used to be given to us free through the district no longer just gave it to district charters for free anymore as of 3 years ago. So now new teachers have to pay an additional cost to get their credential cleared. I'm offering for special education teachers that if they work here full 3 years, we will reimburse them $5,000 worth of BITSA costs. That is a good expenditure of money to have someone for 3 years,
Yes.
right?
Knowing they might leave right after, but.
Even so, yeah.
Even so.
And we'll get someone, we'll bring someone who's new in, be able to cultivate them, train them, and have that incentive to choose us over someone else who's not. There are places that are offering BITSA support. There are places that are offering tuition, full tuition support. We can't afford that.
Offer something.
Mhm. Well, I figured to keep competitive and to, so this, I would offer that we would budget, we don't normally have any more than 2, now possibly up to 3 next year, RSP teachers. So I would put $15,000 in the budget as a holding place for this. Not even this year, right?
So even if they get the certification or whatever they're, so they don't get it until after the 3 years.
That's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
Some places reimburse as they go, which is much more attractive, but then.
And they have to.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get the motion on the table and then we can discuss.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. So I motion to approve the special education teacher incentive reimbursement.
Do we have a second? A second. Amy, second? Okay, any discussion? Questions, conversations? I have one question. Does this get, how does this get put in the budget?
I would put it in the beginning of the, I would
Based on 2?
forecast it. And so right now, I'm not gonna forecast it for a couple of years.
Okay, so 2 people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Because Chelsea's cleared, and whoever we hire,
okay.
Yeah.
So even if they get cleared the first year, they're still not gonna get it until
3rd year, yeah, 3 full years.
3 years later. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 And the motion passes. Okay, so, any comments to the community?
Hi, community.
All right, it's, 8:45. I move, to adjourn. Have a second? I second. Any opposed? Mary. Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
End the stream.
Bye, stream. Go home, Joanna.
Bye, Joanna.
Thanks.